someone who is in a leadership position within an organization deal with the stigma of living with a condition? Because we talked about disclosing. It's one thing to tell people, you can't then control how they respond to you. So
No.
if that comes with a stigma, how can one deal with that?
So I think one of the things in a leadership position is that you need to put in processes in place. So that's what's important. So one of the things you can do is creating positive stories. People won't talk about themselves if they don't know that it's safe. And so if you're a leader and you can talk about and create positive stories of dialogue and sharing in that, and allow safe spaces. So in some places they have neurodiversity champions, they have a safe space where people can go and talk. Then that's a starting point that says this is an organization that is sharing and caring appropriately with those barriers around in terms of safety. I think the other thing is having the facts. It's good for business to be inclusive. Why would you rule out 20% of talent? Why would you not optimize the talent you've already got in your business that nobody's talking about? So why would you not want to entertain 20% for customers for business? So get the facts right. I think that's really important. And then I think as a leader is trying to think about getting training. If you're a large organization or a small organization, having appropriate awareness training for line managers and for all the way to staff to be able to have a conversation, not to be an expert in neurodiversity. I think that's really important, because I think that often puts people off, because you go, oh, I can't be an expert in ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, you know, and you can't be. No line manager can be an expert in eczema and asthma and TB, and, you know, we're going all over the place. Why should they be? But they can be able to ask, how can I support you?
I think that's the very important question to ask. How can I support you? Because it's all well and good to listen to what somebody says, but people come to you and they will disclose their condition because they are looking out for somebody to hear them out. But not only that, but to make their work bearable. Because trust me, at the time somebody is coming to disclose, they've already struggled quite a lot within themselves. They are trying to make themselves better already. So it's that extra step that is there that they are looking out for. And it has to feel safe. It has to feel safe for you with your team. It has to feel safe for them. So I think a safe environment to work in is, as you say, one where people will feel safe
and validated. So in any employee, you would be asking, what are your skills gaps? You know, so I want to optimize your talent, your abilities. What do we need to do to, and everybody's got skills gaps, you know, so it's about thinking about an individual and what their skills gaps are to get them to optimize their talent to do the job the best they can. And I think that changes the way, and that's why universal design principles are important as well, because it says even in the recruitment processes, we're being fair. Otherwise, we're excluding talent, even at that, in leadership all the way through, if, you know, if you don't actually ensure that you're supporting each person.
Because that would just bring a lot of anxiety, visible anxiety, to a point where by the time they're going, they're so tired.
Yep.
That is quite difficult for them to go and perform. But once you put them in place to do their work, they're really good at it.
But you've said a key word there, though. You've said perform, right?
Yeah.
Now, we perform in an interview, but actually maybe we're not a good performer. And maybe our job does not require performances.
Exactly.
Yet in an interview situation, we're being judged on our performance. Now,
a few minutes of you just being what people want you to see.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you might have to do a presentation, but actually in your job, you never have to do presentations. You might be an analyst who never has to interface with the public. So, but you're asked to do a performance and present yourself in a way that doesn't measure what your job is. So I think we need to really think about how we hire for the jobs that we want, and we can do that better.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that is a very stress-provoking few minutes, or 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 1 hour, or whatever, however long The moment somebody says, I always tell to people when I coach people, we're always talking about the fact that they've called you for an interview is they've seen something in you.
Yeah.
The next step, you can say, you can prepare as much as you can prepare, but it's up to them to actually decide whether they want you as well. But one thing to think about is you need to want them as well. So don't go there thinking, because it kind of like makes people who are looking for a job think, I just have to make them happy. I just have to make them happy.
No.
But no, you have to be yourself. Either they like you or they don't, because what they're looking for at the end of the day is somebody they're going to work with, which is when it becomes a problem for people with neurodivergent conditions, because they're not up to go and, you know, if somebody's not up to go and perform and show if a certain kind of way, they just want to be themselves, they just want to do their work. And in my little reading that I've done around the conditions is a lot of people, they're not there to make points, so to say. Whereas in the interview, it seems a bit like you're there to score some points so that you can be the best person for the job.
I think what happens in the end is that you can, is effortful. When you're not a good fit with the team, you start to camouflage and you mask so you camouflage and you put on a mask of who you are to others. You're not able to feel relaxed and be your authentic self. And that is very stressful. So, it's two-way. I think we need to raise awareness so that there is better interviewing, so people understand that if you communicate in this way, it doesn't mean other people communicate in that way. So that's an awareness bit. And that actually you want in your team a mix of people to provide new solutions, new opportunities, new ways of doing things, but you've got to learn how you all optimally communicate together. And that is a training piece as well. And when we start doing that and we match our spiky profiles and say, well, actually, I'm better writing it down and you're better talking about it and we're better, and this is the best way to communicate together, then we will have more neurodiverse teams. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have neurotypical teams. And actually, boy, in the world, do we need diversity now? We need it to find new solutions and think in different ways and work across teams. And I think I go back to my family in the beginning, who are scientists and artists and DJs and IT specialists, and also have learning disabilities and a whole variety. And together they come with all different sorts of ideas and thoughts. Well, I think that's a much better world than having a one size fits all, because it doesn't.
I'm just thinking of what you say, that it just reminds me of growing up in a family where everybody's a doctor. So everybody expects you to be a doctor. So if you're different, if you then want to go and be a DJ, you're not seen as the right kind of person in the family. We had that growing up quite a lot, where your family wanted you to have a certain career, because for them, you know, your parents wanted the best for you, but for them, that's what worked, without really looking at what is it that you want.
Absolutely. So I've got exactly that. My father was a doctor.
All right.
And I'm a doctor. And you know, growing up, he always said, you're going to be a doctor. Do you know what I mean? From a very young age, you're going to be a doctor. And I went, I really like to be a psychologist, I think. No, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to apply to medical school. You're going to be a doctor. And I did become a doctor, and I like being a doctor. However, my daughter's a DJ. And she was never going to be a doctor, you know.
There you go.
So allowing people to be who they want to be is important, I think.